Welcome, Star Wars fans, to episode 135 of Tatooine Sons. After a bit of a travel/medical hiatus, we're back to talk about the real star of Solo, L3-37.
Droid, please.
Yeah.
Before that, we've got some updates on another Disney Plus Star Wars series, some speculation on Ahsoka's return in Mandalorian, and Sam will probably want to talk a lot about Boba Fett.
I told y'all.
Yeah.
I never doubted you.
All right, save it for the
you.
show. Hold on. Yeah.
It's time for Tatooine Sons.
It's true. All of it.
What is the name of the porg on the Millennium Falcon?
Force is strong in my family.
What do you think his name is? It's a big moment.
I am a Jedi, like my father before me.
Maybe Turbis?
Do or do not. There is no try.
Turbis? Pablo, if you're listening to this live stream, that porg's name is now Turbis. It's a good Star Wars name.
We're not done yet.
These guys recorded an awesome podcast called Tatooine Sons. Everybody was lit.
Welcome, Star Wars fans. This is Tatooine Sons, your weekly look into all things Star Wars from the unique perspective of a father sharing his love for the amazing space fantasy saga with his two sons. I am BB Nate, and I am joined first by my brother Samuel the Hutt.
Chucha Star Wars fans, thanks for tuning in. And if you're not a Star Wars fan, then you should still care about droid rights. They are important, okay?
I'm not even sure where to go with that. Okay.
All right. And of course, you can't have Star Wars without bizarre father figures. On that note, here's my dad's bow-tie Jedi guy.
How's it going, gentlemen?
Hanging in there.
I know we've seen each other a lot over the last couple of months, but nobody's listened to us in the
Nobody's
last month.
heard us
Or
seeing
seeing each other or
Yeah,
anything.
It's been crazy.
It's been crazy.
It started off with a lot of travel.
Yeah.
Medical stuff that needed to go. You know, we've talked about that before on the show, going to Alabama for some medical stuff. And, while we were there, we got COVID. So,
I was the first one to get it, surprisingly.
yeah, okay, let's go through and make sure we are clear. We didn't get tested for COVID,
So we actually have no idea.
but
And we're not going to because this is a waste of time.
there's,
At this point.
as long as the respiratory stuff doesn't really kick in, there's nothing that they're going to be able to do. So, but every one of the symptoms, when they say, if this happens, then this happens, and then this happens, and then this happens, then it's COVID. Well, we had that, and some of us are
But
still.
we stayed inside. Cool.
Yeah, we didn't.
We didn't have anywhere to go at that
Didn't
point.
go any
we
like
came home.
Trump rallies or anything like that. It's super spreader events around with it. So BB Nate, you got it first.
I did. I don't
And
know how.
Yeah,
but
we
I
don't know
did.
where we got it from.
Yeah. I mean, it could be from anywhere at this point.
It's
And
from
then you
Disney.
and Mom got it while we were still in
So
Alabama.
Dad got it, and then Mom got it, and then we got back, and
We actually left a day early or so.
5 days after, longer than that.
Yeah, let's see. We got there on a Sunday, and you had it, and I had it a couple of days later. And by Saturday of the next week, we were driving back here, and then we got here, and then our air conditioning was out in Central Florida,
And none of us had slept.
and we hadn't slept in
And
days.
the house has basically been in an oven for the past.
Yeah, it was like 83
week and a
degrees,
half,
84
2
degrees when we got here, and we were
was
sick
miserably
and miserable.
hot.
This was on Halloween, actually.
Yeah, and 2 days before we got our AC working again, so we were fighting COVID with fever and no AC in Central Florida.
A lot of fans were used
Yeah.
during that time.
Yeah,
But thankfully, we had a cold front blow in on the last day.
yeah.
So all the windows were open.
If that was actually pretty nice, but BB Nate, you got over it in a couple of days.
I got over it 3 days.
And then you're the last one to have gotten it, Sam, but you still
Yeah.
got over it in a couple of days.
Yeah, it didn't take super long for me. I mean, it wasn't fun, but I didn't get it nearly as bad as you guys.
Yeah, Mom's doing better than I am.
Mm-hmm.
She's fighting it pretty well, but I'm diabetic, so I think that my
immune
system
is
is
compromised.
I have a compromised immune system, so
So you can
Fortunately,
take advantage
no
of the Publix early shopping hours. You know?
I could.
Just because we
let's
need
go
our
to let's
Publix.
go in public to go to Publix or Walmart and Sam's with the COVID. That
Yeah,
this
that
makes a lot of
sounds
sense.
like a great idea.
So I've been basically in the house for for a week and a half, and even before that, I didn't leave where we were in Alabama. So, but we're doing okay. We're hanging in there, feeling better. Wanted to record. Feels good to record again.
Yeah, feels good to be back.
Almost forgot my intro.
And you've only been doing it 135 times. Or more.
Because re-records and episodes that aren't technically...
Like 235 times with some of the re-records.
A little bit more because then you make me practice it. So
that's true. Well, that's good, though. So, Mandalorian is back. So
This is the way.
Yeah, it is.
So go for it, Sam. Talk. You this is your thing. Go.
Okay, so...
But make sure we only have a little bit of time because we have to get to the other
Shut up,
show.
Nate. I'm going to take as much time as I want. The first episode was fantastic. I don't know. I can't say if it was really on par with the first episode of the first season or not, but I think it came pretty close.
Was the reveal and of course, if
We're
you're
gonna spoil it. Who cares?
if you don't already know about Boba Fett, Cobb Vanth, all that, sorry, we're going to talk about it anyway.
Tristan, my best friend, he still hasn't seen it, but he hasn't been spoiled yet. I need him to watch it because they're waiting for his mom to catch up on the first season so they can watch it together. And she's taking forever to catch up, so he hasn't watched the new season yet. And
so
I'm
he doesn't know about
Boba
Fett.
No, I guess not.
He does listen to this podcast, though.
Well,
so
you tell him he's got till Friday.
cool,
I think is when we're going to release this episode.
But he still hasn't heard. I'm I don't understand how it's been everywhere. It came out the same day. Anyway, yes, Boba Fett's back. Okay, well I need to talk about the stuff in the beginning.
Yeah,
of the podcast.
this is his opportunity to get this all out.
Should we have our own conversation while he's?
Yeah.
No, I'm curious because I haven't. I mean, he's geeked out about this, but not as much because
he's allowed
there
to.
was other things involved.
Nice censorship there. Dad.
You like that, Dad?
Yeah, I can tell where you're going.
There was other distractions.
There was a
yeah.
Anyway. Okay, so I got to start from the beginning of the episode and work my way through because I'll just talk about it.
It was a 52-minute episode.
I'm not going to go over the whole thing. Okay. I'm glad... I forget her name. The chick on Tatooine. You know who I'm talking about. Who runs the
secretary from Elf.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad she's back. She's a fun character.
She is a fun character. And the pit droids were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I liked the pit droids.
And I liked how Mandalorian actually was letting them work on his ship.
Yeah, because of IG-11 and stuff.
Yeah, that was a nuance in this first episode of season 2 that I don't think people have really talked a lot about.
No,
the fact that his opinion on droids has evolved because of IG-11.
Yeah,
it was IG-11, right?
Yes, IG-11.
For some reason, I wanted to say 88, and I knew that wasn't right.
That's the one in Empire.
Okay.
So that was neat. I'm glad she's back. Cobb Vanth is a really fun character. I mean, we said the first season, wow, this is such a Western in Star Wars. No, this episode was straight out of the Western book.
I mean, you've called the Marshal.
Right. You've got this little rinky-dink town in the middle of nowhere with just a single road going down the middle. Where does the Mandalorian go to get information first? He goes to the saloon, basically. He talks to the bartender, and then in walks this sheriff with the spurs, and he's got the holster that hangs way down on his hip and stuff. But what was cool is Cobb Vanth found Boba Fett's armor, right? So he was wearing it, but you could clearly tell it didn't fit. I'm like, it looks like what a bad cosplay looks like.
That's true. You
just notice the details.
Here's the thing, though. I could see myself cosplaying Cobb Vanth.
You could do a good Cobb Vanth.
I could pull that off. I could
work on that for you. I know everything I need to know about costuming.
It would be a lot of fun. That's cool. It's a cool character.
Yeah.
Do you guys realize that his storyline in this contradicts the storyline in Aftermath?
Well, we don't need to get into
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I figured it did because I was trying to remember where.
There's the way he gets the armor is different.
Do you think they're trying to slowly retcon Aftermath with all the stuff that went on?
No, I don't think so. I think that they've made the decision and they've talked about it. Matt Martin's talked about it. Paulo.
Oh, and he worked with Freetown, not Mos
Well, this
Pelgo.
is Freetown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
It is Freetown. So, but the story group has made it clear if we're going to have to make a choice between novels, comics, and live action story will take precedence, and we need to do what we need to do for the story.
Yeah.
You can wrap your head around making it work to some extent, but not to the same. The biggest issue is there's this unity between the Tusken Raiders and the residents of Freetown in the aftermath, in the third aftermath novel.
And maybe that came after this episode somehow.
No, it didn't.
Okay.
It doesn't work.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way. So, it was interesting. It was cool. What do you think about Cobb Vanth?
I enjoyed the character. I really did. It was really cool. I hope we see more of him in this season or in a whole miniseries.
Wait, don't get ahead. So.
I just want to see more of this character.
Okay.
I think it'd be really
All right,
cool.
so you can continue now, Sam. Is there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Oh yeah, I'm not done.
Well, we got only got 45 minutes left, so
It's fine.
all right.
I liked how there was like almost a duel between Cobb Vanth and Mando.
Okay, we have to admit, Baby Yoda had a lot of great scenes in this episode.
Yeah.
I kind of thought Baby Yoda was an afterthought in this
Really?
episode.
Well, in the first one, yeah. Well, I can't really remember any scenes from the first one. All the ones I'm thinking of are from
I
the
can
second
remember
episode.
a lot from the first one.
Okay.
I mean, just one comes to mind. When they're about to do the duel, you've been seeing like they kept cutting back and forth to Baby Yoda like playing with his pot, and then Baby Yoda seeing that.
Oh yeah,
might
yeah,
have
yeah.
to
yeah.
shoot out, and
Spittoon
he
or
goes
whatever.
into this. He gets into the pot. And
The spittoon. It really looked like a spittoon.
I think that's what it was. It was in a bar right next to the door.
Yeah.
So Cobb Vanth was like the stereotypical sheriff character, which I really liked. I liked how it was still did the Western feel, and it was like, I mean, cowboys and Indians teaming up. Yeah, like the Tusken Raiders and stuff. So that was cool.
What do you think about Din Djarin, the Mando's way he interacts with the Tusken Raiders in this series?
I love it. I love how it's starting to make the Tusken Raiders feel not as much as like monsters, I guess, is a great way to put it. Like
They're not
creatures
savages.
of Tusken Raiders.
Yeah, it's a very different approach towards the Tusken Raiders than we had in Attack of the Clones.
Definitely.
And
They're not just animals.
No.
So, what do you think about the Krayt Dragon?
Oh, that was cool. Okay, so I thought I heard somewhere that like there's two different kinds of Krayt dragons.
There is.
There's like the greater Krayt dragon, which is what we saw
that big
here,
boy.
and then the lesser Krayt dragon, which is like a smaller, like kind of looks smaller.
So there's the Crater Dragon.
But people are saying that the lesser Krayt Dragon, the skeleton we see in A New Hope, is of that.
Is that of that?
Lesser.
Okay,
So.
yeah, I could see that. But I love that creature. I think it was a good start, and it was fun to watch them try and take it down.
I loved how they changed the aspect ratio.
Yeah,
It was really cool to just see it zoom in, and the visuals were fantastic as usual. So it was just
Yeah, that was definitely a
Like,
unique decision they made.
after he killed the Krayt Dragon, he has all the armor and stuff. And then as he's driving away off in the sunset, it narrows in and it looks just like straight from a Western. And then the best part of the entire episode, we see this silhouette up on the ridge, looking at the sunset and watching Cobb Vanth drive away. And immediately I'm like, that's got to be Boba Fett. That's got to be Boba Fett. And then it turns around and you see it's Tamora Morrison. And, God, I lost
It was so the funny thing is, as it started to narrow down and he started to drive off in the sunset, I'm like, that was a really great episode.
Yeah, it
You
was.
know?
It was a great
I thought it was
first
fun.
episode. Yeah,
I'm like, that was great. And then it zooms out and you see this character like, oh, wait, forgot we had to have a reveal.
all right. So you get 30 seconds to gloat. Go.
yeah, I mean, I told y'all. I never thought he was dead. I never thought. I knew he had lived.
Timmy,
I
never
but
doubted
I believe.
you.
Shh. Other people did, I'm sure. They were wrong. I knew he wasn't dead. He's too cool to just die like that. I like how they had to call back to how hitting his jetpack makes it go off.
I
was
still
fun.
believe, though, that Tag and Bink were the ones that saved Boba Fett.
I don't remember that
From the
story
comics?
specifically.
It was so ridiculous, but it was awesome.
That's cool.
Anyway, yes,
so you had a
I'm
good
glad
time.
he's back. I want more.
What'd you think about episode 2 or chapter 10 or whatever it was?
It was intense.
Yeah.
Definitely a little creepy. I saw somebody say, well, great episode. Saw it once.
Are you guys like really aware of the controversy over the eggs?
Oh yeah, people are pissed.
Why?
There's this.
It felt to me so much like old Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back.
Okay.
It felt like that kind
Yeah,
of
like
Yoda.
Yoda
Eating
getting into
weird stuff, kind of just making like having fun,
Being weird.
It felt like
Somebody was like, the real lesson of that episode was that when Yoda went to Dagobah,
It wasn't for the Force.
it was for the food, and he's the apex predator on Dagobah, and there was probably a celebration when he died on that planet of all the creatures.
It's like a buffet for him, basically.
but somebody was
So
like,
these are unfertilized eggs, but people are like, they were important to Fish Lady and
frog. I thought it was a frog.
Yeah, she's more
whatever
like a
frog lady, whatever her name is. We're gonna see her again because you see her in the trailer with her
see
husband.
her,
in the next, I'm assuming the next episode that's coming
so.
out in a couple of days. So,
But I mean, I saw somebody and he's like, I'm glad I didn't get spoiled on it. He's like, great episode, but I had severe arachnophobia. So that was very fun.
yeah, spiders
Everywhere.
Now you guys immediately associated those spiders with season 3 of Star Wars Rebels.
as soon as I saw
Immediately.
the first one.
Immediately.
Okay.
Yep.
And I,
You doubted us?
no, I didn't. I mean, I didn't doubt it, but they came out and tied it to concept art Ralph McQuarrie did for Empire Strikes Back from Dagobah, which there's connections there too.
I loved how Rebels used a lot of concept art from
Steven Stanton brought it up on Twitter the other day, a couple of days ago, about how there's a connection there to Star Wars Rebels from his perspective. So
that's cool.
Yeah, I thought it was fun.
I hope there's a few more, maybe bigger.
So, do we see Boba Fett again?
Yes.
In this series?
Oh, yeah.
In this series this season?
Yeah.
Has to be.
They're not going to just throw it in and then be like, we're done with that.
I don't know why he would have to go back to Tatooine, though.
Yeah, I expected
Unless somebody
him.
still knows that Boba Fett is still alive on Tatooine.
I'm a little concerned about that, Sam, because they left,
True.
and I just wonder what I thought that if we saw Boba Fett again, it would pick up in the second episode of the season, and because he hadn't left Tatooine yet, now he's got to go back for us to see Boba Fett again. It makes me a little nervous for you.
We'll see what happens. He's still alive. And that's what's important.
I'm going to be honest. Well, we'll save it for the
we'll
save it for the hot time. All right, why don't we go ahead and jump into last week's, which was really the last 6 weeks, not really 4 weeks. Podcast poll of the week.
Are you brainless? I never asked that question until after I've done it. What?
Very surprised by the result.
This was actually a really good
this
poll
is
for
nice.
us to do after having not done a poll forever. Because the answers, it's kind of like whose line is it anyways? The
points don't matter.
Yeah, the answers are all made up and the points don't matter. So last week's poll is R2, because we're talking about droids, the dynamic droids of Star Wars. Is this theme series that we're on right now. Is R2-D2 the real hero of Star Wars? And we had 4 possible answers. Yes, or yes. So
very wide range of options.
Well, what's really interesting is, our last place was a tie. So
there is no loser.
There is no loser.
R2 always wins.
Whenever R2 is around, we're all winners.
Yes.
So
please.
So we had yes with 64.4%.
Yes.
That's the runaway winner.
With in third,
a tie,
second, whatever. Third, we have 15.6% with yes, and then yes and yes were tied, both with 10%. Actually,
it's impressive.
It is most impressive.
I wonder if they did that on purpose.
Yeah. Here's what you guys had to think about it. Who has the first one?
Yeah, this one's from Heather Alred at Hawk Awesome.
Heather's from WSTR.
Oh, okay, cool.
She's awesome.
She said, "I've been saying this for years, so we have just affirmed you. You're welcome."
She might have inspired the question because I've heard her say it for years. So,
thank you, Heather.
We have Micah with his Twitter handle being at I say it's all good.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Yeah.
Dad decided to give me the hard one, and it's Benedict Cumberbatch gift.
Can you describe the gift in detail?
The short answer is yes. I don't know where the line is from. I feel like Sherlock.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I think so. But that's such a long series with so many lines. I wouldn't remember anyone.
It's a good one.
It's
though.
a great series.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so I should explain Adam's comment. So when I tweeted this out a few days ago, I mentioned in the tweet that we hadn't been on Twitter at all for the last couple of months, and so please be kind and participate in the tweet and
be nice to us.
Poll and all that. And so Adam Lance Garcia, our buddy over there at Condé Nast, one of the coolest Star Wars guys out there.
Yes, sir.
Love the guy. Anyway, he tweeted, "So you missed my girlfriend approving that Turbis is a good Porg name."
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
You missed out.
I know. So
Well, thank you, though.
And she's kind of not a Star Wars fan. She's kind of like Mom. She's not involved in Star Wars, but she's during COVID been watching some of the Star Wars stuff with him, and apparently during that process,
Turbis
he
came
mentioned the Turbis story and.
Cool.
And she approves. So,
well, thank you.
Yeah.
We have the
it's
Adam
a
Lance
great
Garcia's
name, so.
girlfriend seal of approval.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think we need to print that out, put it on the wall somewhere.
That's it. So this week's poll is going to be all about L3-37 because that's who we're talking about.
Yes.
So, and we'll just get your initial reactions before we go to hot takes. L3-37 is a great droid, annoying, just another droid, or other comment below. We'll start with you, BB Nate. Go.
I love the character, but there are other droids that I like better.
Okay.
So I'd have to say just another droid.
Just another droid?
You don't really have a kind of a meh. So it's closest to just... It's a good character, but nothing that I have...
Who's your favorite droid? Chopper or BB-8?
I don't know. There's just a lot of great droids. It's hard to choose because AP's great, K2's great. BB. It's definitely a four-way tie between K2, AP, Chopper, and BB-8.
That's a really indecisive, very standard BB Nate approach. So,
decision.
What about you, Samuel? What would your answer be?
Oh, a great droid. I think she's a lot of fun. She's like K2SO, but even sassier, and I think that's fun to watch. She's smart, and now she's even a part of the Falcon and stuff. So,
well, don't tease it too far ahead here.
Yeah,
We're going to talk about that in a second.
Spoilers.
But before we do that, we're going to have to do a little bit of hot takes. So, a Reddit theory has Ahsoka as the prisoner of Moff Gideon.
What?
Leslye Headland is sending mixed signals about her Disney Plus series, and there's a new Boba Fett series rumor. That's all next on hot takes.
This is where the fun begins.
Well, you want the bad news or the really bad news?
Impressive. Every word in that sentence was wrong.
Alrighty. Could a returning character seen in the Mandalorian Season 2 trailer give us a clue to the return of Ahsoka Tano? This is from inverse.com. Put a link in the show notes. Basically, let's see if I can describe this without having to read it directly from the notes here. Redditor plain_tortillas.
I like it.
Awesome.
Plain
tortillas.
This is the world we live in. This person's gotten all over the internet for the last few days, and he's only known as plain_tortillas. So,
that's awesome.
Don't get technical with me.
Anyway, he suggests that Ahsoka was captured by Moff Gideon, obviously the Mandalorian's primary antagonist, and then is now frozen in carbonite and is being held in an Imperial prison. All right, so this is based off of some of the trailer stuff that we've seen. Grief Karga, Kara presumably enter the picture to aid Mando in breaking her out. Some of those scenes when they're on that Imperial-looking scene. The theory is predicated on the idea that Gideon needs Ahsoka because she's force sensitive. It's possible Gideon is keeping her as a backup should his plans for retrieving Baby Yoda fail. What makes the theory more plausible, though, is the inclusion of Mithril. This is the blue alien who was Mando's very first bounty in Season 1. If you recall, there's a clip in the trailer
where they're on a prison transport
where you've got Grief and you've got Cara Dune, and then in between them you see Mithril. So, isn't Mithril the name of the stuff in?
That's Mithril. It's really similar.
It is. Okay. All right.
I've heard a different version.
Okay, go for it.
This exact
BB Nate.
theory. I've heard that somebody said that in the next episode, it wasn't me. I do enjoy the theory though. Somebody said in the next episode.
You're not plain underscore tortillas, are you?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not plain tortillas.
Whoa, that'd be something.
Said that in the next episode, the Mandalorian is going to meet Sabine, and Sabine's going to ask for his help to break Bo-Katan out of prison.
Okay.
Under Moff Gideon, and that's why they're going to. And it's very similar. All of the rest of this has to do with the same, just different character outlines. Which it would be a little bit more having to do with Mandalorian, that side of it.
That's fair.
But
so you still are really convinced that Sasha Banks' character is Sabine?
I don't know why they would be kind of just teasing it so much if it's not somebody that we already know.
They haven't teased it at all being Sabine.
Not teasing it as Sabine, just teasing it as a big character.
They only show her one time in the entire trailer.
And then they talked about her on the exact same post as revealing that Ahsoka is confirmed to be
that's
in
true.
Season 2.
That Disney Plus tweet, that image that came out that talked about different, like, it was like
and
a
it's
data
like,
bank
who's
thing.
Sasha Banks playing?
Yeah.
So you don't put those two same things.
All right, well, Sam, what do you think about this? How do you feel about Ahsoka being frozen in carbonite and at the mercy of Moff Gideon?
I mean, the theory makes a lot of sense. They bring up a lot of good points, like why would he have her? It's a backup for Baby Yoda. It brings in
you got Boba Fett on the brains there, buddy?
Yeah, just a little bit. It brings in the whole prison sequence. Even the whole Mithril guy, bringing that back as an explanation really helps. So I think it's plausible. I just don't understand why Mando needs her and why, like, how she got caught. Like, this is Ahsoka we're talking about. She's usually pretty competent.
Yeah, that's the part that I don't get. Is
like, how'd she get caught and put in
she's
carbonite?
handled Dooku.
So much.
She's handled Ventress. She's handled Maul.
She's handled
Inquisitors. She
Multiple.
survived Darth Vader.
Yeah, this is all after Rebels.
Yeah, so I mean, and then Moff Gideon captures her.
It's the Darksaber, man.
Even the Ahsoka novel, the stuff she goes through in that is impressive. She only had the Force and still made it out defeating 2 Inquisitors. Like,
yeah, I just have a hard time with seeing her captured by that. But I do like your thing, BB Nate. The idea of Sabine and Bo-Katan. He runs into Sabine on this water planet that we're going to in the next episode, and
hopefully.
And she enlists Mando, which I don't understand why she would enlist Mando, but it makes more sense for her to enlist Mando to help with Bo-Katan. It makes more sense for Bo-Katan to have been captured and frozen in carbonite,
especially if she thinks that somehow the chain of command's off because he has a Darksaber and there's something going on.
So she feels loyal.
Yeah.
Or not loyal, but obligated.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean?
The Darksaber.
Yeah, I know Moff Gideon has that, but how are you tying it to this?
Well, she's a Mandalorian.
She's got to respect whoever has the Darksaber.
Is the ruler.
So why does she? How does that mean that she has to bring in Din Djarin?
No. I'm saying that's why she
We're
got
talking about
captured.
Bo-Katan.
Oh, Bo-Katan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so Sabine, and then that ties into how Sabine could be bringing in Ahsoka at some point.
Exactly, because
into the story, because that's the last time we see Ahsoka is with Sabine at the end of the.
And Dad and I were talking, and we assume that Ahsoka is just with the Rebels crew as kind of her family now. Because
where else has she got to go?
Yeah. I don't know. We'll have to see. We only have a couple weeks to go as episode 5 of the season is being directed and written by Mr. Dave Filoni. I like that guy.
He's a pretty cool guy.
I would love to interview him someday.
Yeah, I know. Podcast Movement tweeted out today. How would you react if you landed your dream guest for your podcast? And so I replied back. I said, I don't know. When Dave Filoni signs up for the show, I'll let you know. Right. So, but it's hard to think Ahsoka is coming back in any other episode than the one that Dave Filoni does. So that'll coming up next. All right. Leslye Headland teases her Star Wars series. This is from IndieWire.com. Leslye Headland discussed the upcoming streaming series in a YouTube interview with Fantastic Frankie. Again, this is the world we live in.
Fantastic Frankie.
I mean, you're Samuel the Hutt, you're BB Nate, and I'm the bow tie Jedi guy. Oh yes, sorry, the bow tie Jedi guy. So anyway, he was talking with them earlier this month, and she discussed her lifelong affinity for the franchise and has brought a pill. She talked about getting hooked on Star Wars during the EU Legends period, the reading Heir to the Empire. with that. Yeah.
The Thrawn novels.
The
okay.
very first Thrawn novel. Though the interview was short on concrete details, she did say this. It's in a pocket, her series. This is what she's talking about. It's in a pocket of the universe and a pocket of the timeline that we don't know much about. Headland went on to describe the show saying, for me, it's less about going through the Star Wars universe cinematically or artistically. I'm actually kind of combing through it geographically and going on a literal journey. When we were pitching, I had my designer create that Indiana Jones, like, here we go, and then we go here, and then we go there.
Red dot.
Yeah, with the little dotted red line, like, this is our journey, this is where we're going. Headland has also said that the style of the show will be a female-driven action thriller with martial arts elements. BB Nate, when you hear all that, what do you think this sounds like to you?
Confusing. That's the one word that can describe this. We're having a thriller, martial arts journey in a timeline, an area of the universe, and we got Star Wars that we haven't seen. Just
it's a lot.
I mean, it reminds me a little bit of that Timothy Zahn book I read, The Icarus Hunt.
Okay.
It reminds me a lot of that because they were going to different places, trying to get to one spot at the end.
Which isn't a lot different than what we've got going on in Mandalorian.
No. And I do want to kind of see something a little different.
Okay.
But a martial arts in Star Wars? That seems a little
Is this going to be Terrace Kasi type stuff going on here?
Is it going to be, a different part of the timeline? Is it going to be... I don't know.
Samuel Head, do you think this is Dr. Aphra? Indiana Jones style? She's already referenced Indiana Jones. She's it's female driven, but we've already know that. Is this Dr. Aphra?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't.
I mean, that's what everybody originally thought when this series was announced.
I mean, the
Dr.
martial arts
Aphra.
thing's weird. I don't think Dr.
She
Aphra,
definitely is not a martial arts. She's a lot like Han Solo.
She throws a punch.
First.
That's about all she's got. Like that and a blaster.
I mean, not even any of her crew.
Could this be Guardians of the Wills content?
Ooh. It reminds me a lot of the
that
Guardians
could
of the
work.
Will book.
Chirrut Imwe.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff.
Although when she mentioned the journey thing, that kind of reminded me of... it sounds to me like Lord of the Rings almost. Like, because if you think of Lord of the Rings, it's much more of a journey than anything. That's what...
Yeah, it's a there and back again. Yeah.
There's a map that you can follow the whole story. So that's kind of what it reminds me of in this, which can obviously work as a storytelling element.
So do you think it's like somehow these Guardians of the Wills, I don't know, maybe lose...
It could be in a completely different section of the galaxy.
I know.
And have nothing to do with the Force. It might have nothing to... I mean, this could be... We could be so far left field. The only reason I keep bringing it up is it's female-driven, and she keeps referencing Indiana Jones, and those two to make me think Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, but then she throws in a thriller with martial arts.
Yeah, the martial arts thing is really what's throwing me off, because you don't...
If you think about it, the one thing that comes to mind is that the most likely thing is definitely a Guardians of the Wills. Because the Guardians of the Wills have been in a timeline we don't understand very well.
That's true.
We don't know...
Because they're ancient. They go back a long time before we get to any...
the place could be anywhere. Unknown regions. There are so many wills. Mm-hmm. And they're pretty well known for their combat and their protection. So, I mean, you read the Guardians of the Wills book, and it's all having to do with how the Wills act. And, of course, it was newer because it was Chirrut and Baze. So,
cool.
It definitely... That's the most likely thing I can think of right now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, this one's going to be a bit of a wait for us, as we still really have no confirmation of anything other than what you've just heard. So we don't know. We don't know when the series comes out. We don't know when it's going to start shooting. We don't know anything really other than they're going to make a series. So yeah. All right, here we go, Sam. This one's for you.
Yeah.
He's no good to me dead. Is a Boba Fett miniseries in production. This is from comicbook.com and then also Deadline. Lucasfilm is reportedly aiming at a mid-November shooting start, which is like right now, on a Star Wars miniseries focused on Tamura Morrison's Boba Fett, who returned in the season 2 premiere of Disney Plus series The Mandalorian, according to a late Thursday last week report from industry trade magazine Deadline.
Are they reputable?
They are reputable, but they generally don't quote sources very well.
Did they quote sources?
No, I don't know. I didn't look at their stuff. So, the still rumored Boba Fett series will film next week ahead of a late November or early December production start on the 3rd season of The Mandalorian. Other sources indicated a possible spring 2021 starting date on the new season. Details are scarce, and the famously secretive Disney Lucasfilm has not yet confirmed or announced plans for a Morrison starring Boba Fett series. Samuel the Hutt, is this just too good to be true?
I got a bad feeling about this.
I take any sort of rumor like this with a grain of salt, because we have heard so many, like, there's a Boba Fett movie coming out rumor, and then it goes away, or there's
that Boba Fett series was literal. I mean, it was Josh Trank, and then he got canned, and then it was mangled.
That series?
A real Boba Fett movie. Wow. It was a standalone movie. Like
that's right.
They had a director, and then they fired the director, and they brought in Mangold, which is the one that did Logan, and they canceled the series, or they canceled the movie. And so, is this that storyline? And if so, what do you think the story should be about?
Jeez, Boba Fett's is one of those characters where he's cool, everybody likes him, but we don't know like much of his story at all. I mean, the most we got from him was what was seen in Clone Wars, and that's just when he was a kid. That's like how he gets his start, and that's about all we've got. The rest of his timeline is really sparse. So, I mean, it could be any number of things. They could pick any point in the timeline and go with it. It could be between 3 and 4 while the galaxy's still kind of finding its footing, and he's got to find a job, so he's still young, so that could be an interesting. Well, I guess they couldn't do Tamara Morrison at that point, so that does limit the timeline a bit. I guess if they were going to use Tamara Morrison,
they could do some de-aging stuff. They've done that before.
True, and he'd be wearing a helmet probably for most of it.
True. So, I mean, they could do a younger Boba Fett as he's finding his footing after Episode 3 and stuff. They could do original trilogy Boba Fett and what he's doing around that time period while he's like kind of in his prime of
and hunting for Luke and on Darth Vader's behalf.
And then how he gets out of the Sarlacc pit.
I think that's
and what he does has been doing all these years.
Yeah, because we don't really know where he stands when it comes to that. We knew he was a bounty hunter, but he doesn't really do that anymore. We can kind of tell he lives on Tatooine. So
kind of just looks like a nomad. Yeah.
Yeah. What does he do? What's his purpose? So I think we do see post 6.
Yeah, I like that idea.
All right, BB Nate, you and me are going to have a little conversation here.
Sammy, take off your headphones.
So no, he
would still be able to hear.
Yeah. So, can you imagine? Let's just say that this series isn't happening. Okay. And then, can you imagine if they don't show any more Boba Fett in The Mandalorian? All we got was that little glimpse of him at the end of,
and they don't do anything else.
The first of Chapter 9, of the Marshal. That was that one, right? The Marshal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they don't do anything else. Does this, just between you and me, not Sam, does this play into the criticism of Boba Fett that he's popular just for being popular and he has absolutely done nothing in the Star Wars galaxy?
If they do nothing with him, which I don't think they will, because I think Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni care too much about the series just to leave a character behind. If they don't do anything, which is unlikely, I think it does, because the hype was way too high. Some people said it was Rex, which doesn't make any sense. It's just the hype was way too high for it. Everybody's like, it's Boba Fett.
You don't have Boba Fett's armor in that entire episode and then have that be Rex. That's stupid.
Yeah.
So
and Rex wasn't disfigured. Rex had hair. It doesn't make sense. Facial hair.
That's called a beard.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what those are.
Yeah, you wouldn't know, Sam.
But
yeah, no, I can't grow one.
It would play into that.
Yeah, Sam, are you going to be okay if that happens?
I've never combated the idea that he's just popular for the sake of being popular. I liked him because he's cool looking. I'm just being honest with you. I thought he had cool armor. So yeah, if that's the case, it's going to play right into that trope. But I'm okay with that. I know now there is actual canonical confirmation that he is still alive. But I don't think, like Nathan said, I don't think you bring in such a popular, beloved character, make such a dramatic reveal with him, and then do absolutely nothing.
That would be horrible, wouldn't it?
Like it would be stupid because they could get a lot of traction out of that.
Yeah, I can't imagine they do that.
Toys they could sell.
Right.
All right. Well, before we get Boba Fett in a miniseries, let's hope that we get a little bit more of him in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
So, all right. When Solo, a Star Wars Story, released in May of 2018, we all went to the theater excited to see Han and Chewie and Lando and to be introduced to Kira and Beckett and Val and Rio and all of those cool characters. But the character, in my opinion, who stole the show was...
Maul.
Well, he stole the show differently with that. That was pretty much. You're right, but I think as far as major character in the movie, L3-37 stole the show. She was larger than life, and she's really a powerful example of principle and commitment to a cause.
Bulky religions and ancient weapons are no match for a good blaster at your side, kid.
Rebellions are built on hope.
Force is with me, and I am with the Force.
If you live long enough, you see the same eyes in different people.
All right, L3-37.
Yes,
Initial
sir.
thoughts. Let's start with you, Samuel the Hutt. What did you think about this character?
I was not prepared for this.
Well, you should look at your notes then.
Well, okay, yeah. Well, I'm not gonna retort for that. She was really unlike anything we had seen in Star Wars before. I mean, the only droid you can really compare her to is K2SO, and even then, it's not the same. K2SO just speaks his mind just because he's just it's a byproduct of the programming, right? L3 speaks her mind because she believes it. Like she's got conviction behind,
and she's a
what
self-made droid. Literally,
Yeah.
she built herself.
Right. She's just a collection of all these different ideas, and she's independent, like even more independent than K2SO. Like, sure, she hangs out with Lando, right? But she could up and leave at any time if she really wanted to. K2 is kind of stuck with Cassian and the Rebellion, so she's just unique in a lot of ways, which
cool.
I appreciated.
What about you, BB Nate? What did you think? Because K2SO, or excuse me, L3-37, L3-37 is not on your highest list.
It's not on my highest list.
Okay.
Because she is a lot like, in my opinion, she's a lot like AP5.
Explain.
AP5
got some explaining
is
to do.
very, I guess, sassy in a certain way. He definitely speaks his mind, and it's not just because of programming.
Okay,
he just wants
that's
to
fair.
speak his mind, and he just feels a lot like L3 to me, just a male version of L3.
Did we get AP5? And this is obviously not an episode about AP5, but did we get AP5 in more than that main episode that we saw him in? Was he in any other episodes of
He was
Rebels?
in a couple,
Okay,
yeah, but not much.
He was in a few.
Okay. Anyway, all right. So, I like L3. I've made that pretty clear. I think that she's hilarious. I think that she's unpredictable, and I love it. You know, we talked about this, I think, when we were setting up this series, or even maybe on the first episode of the series with R2. Droids themselves, you would think that they don't have as much personality because they're robots, they're droids, right? They wouldn't have the same type of personalities, or as distinctive personalities. But I think that their personalities are even more distinct than in some of the main characters, the humanoid characters.
They're almost more one-dimensional. Not in a bad way, but like they have one specific characteristic or one specific like trope that they fill, and they take it to the highest they can, and it works for the droids. You can't do that with people; it just gets cliched and stuff.
Their personality has to be so personal and has to be so connected to them, because they can't show their personality like humans can. Definitely, that's what I've loved about
that's
droids.
true. There's no facial expression or very little of that, so they have to
body language is kind of, you can't tell. So it's just that's why I've always loved droids, is because their personalities have to really show through how they act. So it's just.
Yeah, I like I said, L3-37 is a fun character for me. She was one that I didn't expect to like as much of the character. There was a lot of, there was the whole Lando thing that was being teased before, sort of the weird relationship that, just not a Star Wars necessary relationship that was being teased. And so I went into it with sort of this attitude about L3 that I wasn't going to really like the character, and I was really surprised by her, and I loved her. Why don't you talk a little bit about Lando in general, maybe not some of the stuff that I was referencing there,
her relationship.
but the relationship with Lando, because it's really powerful. It's a powerful relationship.
Yeah, a lot of like droid and human relationships are, the droid is very subservient to the human, even in R2 and stuff. Like, sure, he's able to hold his own. We talked about all that last week, but he's still, we talked about his loyalty, and that's his winning.
Yeah, that's his characteristic.
Right.
Yeah.
And he is wholly loyal to Luke and Anakin in before and stuff. And that's fine, but he's still subservient. L3, she's just kind of tagging along with Lando because, frankly, she likes him. Like, that's it. Otherwise, she could up and walk out whenever she wants to. I talked about that, a minute ago. So it's interesting to see a droid in that respect. It's a more of an even relationship with the human as opposed to like a servant. And Lando really respects L3 because of that. Like she's independent. She's an independent droid. Independent woman. And he respects that from her because it's different. And she talks back to him. Like, she puts Lando in his place at times. And I think he, respects that. So it's interesting to see that relationship come out of a droid, which we hadn't ever really seen anything close to that before, even with K2 and stuff.
Yeah. B. Nate, Lando, there's that scene when we first kind of get introduced to L3, after the cage fight, droid fighting and all of that kind of stuff, where they're getting ready to go to the most beautiful moment in Solo: A Star Wars Story to see the Falcon the first time. But anyway, they're on their way to it, and she's mocking Lando, talking about, you
wouldn't be able to get to Black Spire from here.
Yeah, which is, it's a cool line, but also BB Nate, just this idea of, she doesn't see herself as being beneath Lando. She sees herself as being equal, or even in some ways above. Superior to it. Talk a little bit about L3 and this whole concept that she's got about droids being sentient beings and all of that kind of thing.
Kind of like the droids' rights thing.
Yeah.
She's very passionate that droids are equal to humans. They can do the same stuff, which is maybe they can do more. Humans can't hack computers with a little thing that shoots out of their arm. So,
it's oddly specific, but yeah, you're right.
So, she says she's thinking that droids shouldn't have to just be servants. And they shouldn't just have to serve anybody. They should be able to live their lives like everybody else. And that we do see that when she's starting to break out all those droids that are just serving.
On Kessel.
She's like, go live your life. So.
Yeah, I love that scene where all the prisoners and stuff are breaking out. And immediately Lando's like, L3, what did you do?
Yeah.
But she's like, I found my purpose. She's finally figured out what she wants to do. And that's, help these droids out, help her people or her kind out in a sense.
Yeah, and she's just very passionate that droids shouldn't be servants and they should be able to live their lives because they can. They're more than able to. So.
We don't really think about droids as being equals in this. And so it's beautiful to see L3, knowing her backstory with being, building herself or piecing herself together over the years and that type of thing. You've read like the Double or Nothing series a little bit.
I've read 2 issues.
What's she like in some of those those things? Because we listened to The Most Wanted, so we know that this idea of the droids kind of droid rights is not just an L3 thing. Walk me through some of that.
She's a lot like how she is in Solo, but you do get to see a little bit more of the personal interactions that she can have with Lando. She's very, very arrogant is a great way to put it. She definitely thinks that she's the best. she a lot of the times thinks she's higher than Lando, and that he shouldn't have done that because she thought differently. But she's a lot more kind of, you can see more interactions between her and Lando that really make watching Solo a little bit different because you kind of get some of the backstory. And I haven't finished it, but I have a feeling of when you first see Lando during the first game, the ending of the first game, he's talking about this. How was I supposed to know she was an Imperial agent? There was a girl in that series, and I'm pretty sure that was the Imperial agent. And I think that L3 didn't like her.
Okay,
so.
That's cool. That's awesome. I think that that moment we were talking about Kessel and the droid uprising on that she leads with it, which is powerful. We see that while she's all about this droid uprising and stuff, there's this moment where she gets killed, right? So she's dying with it, and you see that there really is a connection and a relationship between her and Lando that's bigger than just master slave type scenario or even just equals as far as friends. There's this connection. There's an emotional bond between the two of them that's pretty intense. We don't see that with droids as much, except for maybe between Anakin and R2 in the Clone Wars.
Chopper.
Yeah, that's true. I would say that. Yeah, you're right. But then you get it, Lando goes out and salvages what he can of her, and there's this moment where she's going to die, and she's asking him to help her, and he's trying, and there's nothing that he can do, and he's just cradling her in her arms, and you think that it's over for L3. I love the choice that Ron Howard and the I don't know if that was part of the Lord Miller version of the movie, but I love the choice that they made in Solo, where they upload her and her ability, because they tease it earlier on in the story that she's got the best nav computer and the ability that Lando's ever seen. They upload that into the Falcon itself, and L3's personality becomes part of the Falcon, and that changes a lot of the way that you watch the original trilogy.
Yeah, knowing that the Falcon's a character.
Yeah, I mean, even Han keeps calling her a girl or her and that kind of thing. It's almost like that it's obviously a retcon, but the retcon makes the relationship that Han has with the Falcon different,
including Lando too. His relationship's way different. Like when he sees it in the sequel trilogy and stuff. That's going to make a huge difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember reading The Last Jedi. I think we've talked about this on the show, but reading The Last Jedi novelization and getting towards the end of it, and there's this conversation that's going on within the Falcon between the different computers, and one of them is sassy and a little bit off color and that kind of thing. And I'm like, that has to be L3. And so that was fun to be the one that noticed that. And actually, I reached out to Jason Fry, who wrote the novelization, and he said that he's been waiting for someone to bring that up, and they hadn't brought it up yet.
And didn't I at some point before the movie call that L3 was going to be uploaded?
I think you did. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I did.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
You can see that in like before she gets uploaded in the Falcon, she's like trying to calculate stuff, and it makes the noise that the Falcon makes, and she has to hit her head to get it working, just like how you have to hit the Falcon running sometimes.
It was awesome. Yeah. So, well, for this week's dad moments, so
I am your father.
It's amazing that in Star Wars a droid can feel more real than some of the human characters. And L3's personality in Solo really does come through loud and clear. She's confident, she's quick-witted, and then most of all, she's principled. She knows what she believes and why she believes it, and she really doesn't care if you agree with her or not. And in our world, that's dominated by political correctness, she's a character we should all try to emulate a little bit more with that. So awesome. Next week, who you guys want to talk about next week? Which droid should we go with?
There's just so many.
I know.
BB Nate, you're the droid guy. You're not going to choose?
I'm not going to choose.
It's like choosing your favorite child.
Let's do Chopper.
I was going to say Chopper. Let's have some fun with Chopper. Yeah. So awesome. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else?
Yeah. So scientists found a planet that is very similar to Star Wars' Mustafar.
That's
the description is it rains rocks, has lakes of lava,
it's also
and constantly has hurricane strength winds all the time.
Does it also have really cool battles?
I hope.
Better have the high ground. That's all I have to say about that. So
hello there.
Yeah. All right.
I wonder if that's a hot destination for tourists.
Ooh, yeah. All right.
The Lego Star Wars Holiday Special sends Rey back to the prequel and the original trilogy.
Yeah, we've seen the trailer, and that's coming out in a few days. So
it's like the end game of Star Wars.
It's great to see Rey with the yellow lightsaber. I love that.
Yeah.
And I really like just the direction that it's going. It seems like it's just going to be a really fun...
I think it's just going to be fun.
Yeah.
It's going to be nice to have something come out in Star Wars new and just designed to be fun.
But you know there are going to be people going, oh, the story doesn't make sense.
I don't know. It's Lego.
It's not canon.
I know.
Yeah, it's Lego.
They're
so
gonna
I
take
think
it too seriously.
I think that we're going to be okay. I'm
excited, though.
I am very excited.
I'm very cool. All right, so Felicity Jones, she played Jyn Erso.
Yeah, that girl.
She says she wants to return to the Star Wars franchise, which is cool, right?
Yeah, I can respect
But then her quote creates a challenge with that. She says, and again, I'm quoting her, I think it would be fascinating to see her getting older and wiser and fighting the dark forces in the universe. So,
I don't think that I don't think that works.
She's kind of
to the dark side.
That didn't work, but anyway.
Yeah. She's really living up to her name at the moment, though, Stardust, so it's really not feasible.
She is Stardust.
She's literally Stardust right now.
She said that, you never know, that could be reincarnation in Star Wars.
I mean, yes, but I think that happened with more of like a Force user or something, not some random soldier.
Yeah, I don't think she's going to be coming back to Star Wars.
But wishful thinking, you got to give points for that.
Yeah, you go, girl.
Okay. Give us a rating and review.
On that note...
please give us a rating and review on iTunes and Google Podcasts and most of the podcatchers that you use. It really just it helps people find the show, which is great.
And it boosts our
we haven't had it in a while.
Yeah.
We're starting to lose confidence. This is why
sad.
This is why we haven't been uploading for a while, because you guys haven't been giving us reviews.
No, I don't think that's it. That's not it at all. So.
And it's just, if people do see these glowing reviews that we love to read on the air, if they don't have language, and are, positive, they see this glowing review, then they might actually want to listen to it.
Yeah.
I know there's some podcasts I listen to, I have to look at reviews first to see if they're okay, because I've had a couple that I'm just like, I should have looked at the reviews first, because they're really bad.
Yeah, and then while you're at it, go ahead and just follow us on our socials. You can follow us on Twitter, but we're
doing a little more on Twitter.
Yeah, but we're not quite as active as we used to. Really, where we're most active right now is Facebook. So just find us at Facebook, at Tatooine Sons, and just give us a like, follow, and you'll see whenever we post an article, share an article.
You okay over there, BB Nate? You going to yawn through the end of the show here? Is that,
So yeah, go ahead and give us a quick follow.
That's awesome. Yeah, we appreciate it. Yeah, you guys, thank you so much for listening to the show. We definitely love being able to do this, and love that you guys listen to us. And
although we're not sure why,
we're gonna try to do it consistently going forward. And any thoughts and prayers for us to continue to combat this COVID stuff, then we'd appreciate that. That would be awesome. All right. Anything else you guys want to share?
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you, always.
This party's over.
I like that Wookiee.
Don't get technical with me.
Joy, please.
Yep, yep.